With a deal for Manchester United's goalkeeper Dean Henderson seemingly stalling, here are 3 alternatives to replace the English shot stopper at Nottingham Forest. Here's the criteria we're considering. A strong shot stopper, someone who performs at or above expected considering how busy they're likely to be this season. Someone who is comfortable coming off their line and commanding the box. Forest faced the second most crosses in the Premier League last season and conceded the second most goals from set pieces, so this is a must. And finally, as a more intangible, someone who fits in the same age profile as Dean Henderson, in that 23 to 26-year-old range, but with good experience in a top European league. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, Alban Lafont. Establishing himself as one of the top goalkeepers in France, Alban Lafont, at just 24 years old, already has close to 150 top-flight appearances with Ligue 1 side Nantes, boasting a shot save percentage of around 75%, putting him in the upper 25% of European goalkeepers, and having considerably outperformed his post-shot expected goals over the last 2 seasons. The 24-year-old is definitely a solid shot stopper. Whilst not massively active in sweeping outside the box, he does have a good command of the inside of his box, claiming around 8.5% of the crosses he faces, placing him in the top 20% of European goalkeepers. Finally, at just 24 years old, Alban Lafont could potentially be a long-term solution to the goalkeeping position at Nottingham Forest, with close to 250 appearances in Europe's top 5 leagues and experience captaining his side in Ligue 1. And heading into the final 12 months of his contract with Nantes, the French side may look to cash in whilst there's still value, so this could be a really shrewd acquisition for Forest. Number 2, Emile Odero. One that Forest were linked to back in January when it looked like a deal for Keylor Navas wasn't going to be happening. Emile Odero is probably one of a few players at Sampdoria who can hold their heads up high, following their 20th place finish and relegation from Serie A last season. Despite that, he managed a very respectable 72% save percentage, although his post-shot expected goals against the goals he actually conceded was nothing to write home about, suggesting he doesn't have much value with his shot stopping. However, he does well to command his box, claiming around 6.7% of the crosses that he faces, placing him in the top 30% of European goalkeepers last season. And at 26, Odero has great experience, over 150 appearances in Serie A and experience in relegation scraps, suggesting he could have the mentality to see out the season. And in my opinion, this is the most budget-friendly of the 3 options, unlikely to want much in wages and unlikely to command a large fee due to Sampdoria's relegation. Number 3, Robert Sanchez. Admittedly, this is the most punchy of my 3 options. The Spanish goalkeeper found himself out in the cold during the back end of the season under Roberto De Zerbi, with Jason Steele being preferred over the 2 times capped Spanish international. However, if we rewind back to the 2021-22 Premier League season, Sanchez was very strong for Brighton, making the 8th most saves in the league and maintaining a 73% save percentage over the course of the season, significantly higher than Dean Henderson last season. And during the 2021-22 season, no goalkeeper made more high claims, whilst the Spaniard was also in the top 10 goalkeepers in the Premier League for punches, suggesting he's more than happy coming off his line and commanding his box. And finally, at 25 years old, with close to 100 appearances in the Premier League and technically a homegrown player, he is a great alternative to Dean Henderson, checking the same 3 boxes the Englishman does. Like I said, it's probably the most punchy of the 3 options, but it doesn't seem like the Spaniard's going to be getting back into that Brighton first 11 anytime soon, so a move for the 25-year-old does make sense. So let me know in the comments what you think of the goalkeepers I suggested today. Would you rather one of them or Dean Henderson starting at the beginning of the Premier League season? Answers as always in the comment section below. And whilst you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you later.